It's now time for the red pill. Last week, I spoke on the historically awful situation going on with homelessness here and across the world, which got me thinking. Despite its promise of freedom and the ability to do anything, which I live by, America has become segregated between two sides. You either have it all, or you have nothing. Nowhere embodies this lifestyle better than Los Angeles. I moved out with only a few $100s in my bank account and started off with nothing, struggling every month to barely make rent. Luckily, I've been successful and now find myself at the other end of the spectrum. But only few have the chance to move up, and the in-between is slowly disappearing. We live in a class-based system that isn't equal and unfairly advantages those born into wealth and hurts those born into poverty. Anyone who says otherwise is out of touch or lying to themselves. Why do you think successful and rich families stay at the top of the food chain? They live in exclusive neighborhoods, send their children to elite private schools with other similar families, teach them the paths to becoming rich and successful, and have the connections second to none to get them jobs, internships, and so on. Not to mention leave their massive inheritance to them. Not that any of this is wrong. I mean, what would you do in that position? Now, the same is true on the opposite end. Families below the poverty line are stuck sending their children to overcrowded and underfunded public schools, live in ghettos or depressed areas with other struggling families, and have no foundation to teach or help their children grow to the level of success. All these children sees the negativity, and it only grows worse by generation. Sure, anyone has the ability to make it from the bottom or can fall from the top, but the task of jumping between classes has gotten increasingly harder, and those at the bottom often have no one guiding them on how to improve. The cycle for both of these life cycles then repeats itself again and again. The problem is, the divide only gets worse with each turn, leading us till today. As the rich get richer, the middle class fall further, leading us to the insane economic foundations of even trying to purchase a house today in my city, which you basically need to be a millionaire to do. As time goes on, we're in risk of there being two very different and segregated countries, which isn't good, as it will eventually all crash and burn. We need to even out education and provide opportunities to all. No person is born any different than any other, and our environments make us who we are. The best schools shouldn't be isolated to just the rich. Although it's impossible to change the class system you're born into, there's no reason for us not to provide the same tools, like education and opportunities, to everyone. I don't think life should be a lottery solely based on where you're born. The middle class shouldn't be squeezed out because the rich can afford to buy all the housing up and then rent it back to them, creating an even bigger divide. And those who grow up in the ghetto with a single parent and no money shouldn't be excluded from higher education or the best schooling simply because they can't afford it. It's time to end this segregation before it starts, or worse, before everything burns to the ground.